Ladies and gentlemen, carefully. A relationship is not just a union of two bodies, it is the intertwining of two destinies. Your role in a man's life is not to lose yourself, but to enhance the purpose for which you were created. Too often, women give away their power, compromise their standards, or neglect their essence, all for the sake of love. But love, when misunderstood, becomes a trap rather than a blessing. Let me share with you 9 things a woman should never do with a man. A man may fall in love with who you are, but if you lose that identity trying to please him, he will no longer recognize the woman he admires. Your worth is not in molding yourself to fit his desires, but in standing firm in the unique person God created you to be. Never dim your light to make it shine brighter. That your life has a divine purpose beyond being someone's partner. A man should complement your mission, not compete with you. Give up your joy and Jesus of support is. You rob the world of your gift. Remember, Eve was created to help Adam fulfill God's purpose, not abandon her own. Access to your heart, your time, and your body is a privilege, not a right. Do not give a man what he has not earned. The keys to your life should only be handed to someone who understands their value and respect the responsibility they carry. I am relationship. Silence is not always golden. Do not allow a man to silence your thoughts, opinions, or convictions. They speak with wisdom, but speak. A strong man will welcome your perspective. A weak man will fear it. A queen does not chase, she tracks. If you are constantly pursuing a man, you are stepping out of alignment with your worth. Love that is chased is rarely sustainable. Let him prove his intent, and after your identity is the essence of who you are. It is the unique combination of your values, personality, dreams, and experiences that set you apart in the world. In relationships, there can often be an unspoken pressure to adapt or mold yourself into what you believe the other person wants or needs. However, this is one of the greatest mistakes a woman can make, because in compromising her identity, she sacrifices the very essence that makes her special. When you lose sight of yourself, you risk becoming a shadow of your true self, which not only affects your relationship, but also diminishes your sense of self-worth. What? Many women fall into this trap because of a deep-seated desire to please or maintain harmony in a relationship. This is often driven by societal expectations that suggest a woman's role is to nurture, to adapt, and to put others first. While nurturing is a beautiful and valuable trait, it should never come at the expense of your own authenticity. When you compromise your identity, you begin to prioritize someone else's happiness, goals, or vision over your own, often without realizing it. Over time, this imbalance can lead to resentment, frustration, and a sense of being lost. True love does not require you to change who you are at your core. A healthy relationship is one where both partners can grow together while maintaining the individuality. Compromising your identity for the sake of a man can create a power dynamic where you are constantly seeking validation or approval. This dynamic is unhealthy and unsustainable because it places your sense of worth in someone else's hands. When your identity becomes dependent on another person's perception of you, you lose the ability to stand confidently in your own skin. The process of losing your identity often begins subtly. It might start with small compromises, like giving up hobbies you enjoy because they don't align with his interests, changing your opinions to avoid conflict, or prioritizing his goals over your own. These changes might feel insignificant at first, but over time, they accumulate and erode the foundation of who you are. You may find yourself looking in the mirror and no longer recognizing the person staring back at you. This loss of self can lead to a lack of fulfillment, as you are no longer living a life that is true to your values and aspirations. It is important to understand that maintaining your identity is not about being stubborn or unyielding. It is about honoring the unique person you were created to be. Every woman has a purpose, a calling, a set of gifts that she brings to the world. When you compromise your identity, you diminish your ability to fulfill that purpose. You were not created to live in the shadow of another person, but to shine brightly in your own right. Your identity is your power, and it is what makes you irreplaceable. In relationships, there is often a fear that staying true to yourself might drive the other person away. This fear can lead to a pattern of overcompensating, where you try to become what you think the other person wants. But the truth is, a man who truly loves and values you will appreciate you for who you are, not for who you try to become. He will celebrate your individuality, encourage your growth, and support your dreams. A relationship built on mutual respect and authenticity is far more fulfilling than one built on compromise and conformity. Locality. Compromising your identity can also have a ripple effect on other areas of your life. When you are not true to yourself, it can impact your career, friendships, and overall well-being. You may start to feel disconnected from the things that once brought you joy, or struggle to find meaning in your daily life. This disconnect can lead to a sense of emptiness, as you are no longer living in alignment with your true self. Claiming your identity is essential for your emotional and spiritual health. Maintaining your identity also means setting boundaries and being willing to walk away from situations that do not honor your worth. It requires courage and self-awareness to recognize when a relationship is asking you to sacrifice too much. Boundaries are not about creating distance, but about protecting what is important to you. They allow you to engage in relationships without losing yourself in the process. A man who respects your boundaries is one who values you as an individual and understands the importance of your identity. It is also important to remember that your identity is not static, it evolves over time. As you grow and experience new things, your sense of self will naturally develop. This evolution is a sign of growth that should be embraced. However, the core of who you are, your values, passions, and purpose remains constant. A healthy relationship will provide the space and support for you to continue evolving without feeling the need to compromise your core identity. Your identity is the foundation upon which you build your life. It influences your decisions, your relationships, and the way you view the world. When you compromise your identity, you weaken this foundation, making it difficult to stand firm in the face of challenges. By staying true to yourself, you create a solid base that allows you to navigate life's ups and downs with confidence and resilience. You become a woman who knows her worth and refuses to settle for anything less than she deserves. Ultimately, preserving your identity in a relationship is an act of self-love and respect. It is a declaration that you are enough just as you are without needing to change or diminish yourself to fit someone else's expectations. When you honor your identity, you attract relationships that are built on mutual respect, authenticity, and love. You become a partner who inspires and uplifts, not because you have compromised who you are, but because you have embraced it fully. Your purpose is the very reason for your existence, the unique mission for which you were created. It is the divine assignment that gives your life meaning and direction, the thing that sets you apart from everyone else in the world. Neglecting your purpose for the sake of a relationship not only diminishes your potential, but also disrupts the balance of the partnership itself. You were not created to live solely in service of someone else's dreams, but to fulfill the calling placed on your life by God. When you allow a relationship to take precedence over your purpose, you are choosing to step away from the path you were meant to walk. And that choice has far-reaching consequences. Every person is born with gifts, talents, and abilities that are meant to serve a greater purpose. These gifts are not random, they are intentional and tied to the impact you are meant to have in the world. When you neglect your purpose in favor of a relationship, you not only rob yourself of the joy and fulfillment that comes from living in what's in alignment with your calling, but you also deny the world the contribution you were meant to make. Your purpose is not something to be sidelined or sacrificed. It is the core of who you are and the driving force behind everything you do. In relationships, there is often an unspoken expectation that one partner must prioritize the other's dreams. For women, this expectation can be especially strong due to societal norms that have historically placed more value on a woman's role as a supporter than as a leader. But your purpose is not secondary to anyone else's. It is not a backup plan or an option to be explored later. It is central to existence and should be treated as such. A healthy relationship is one where both individuals are free to pursue their purpose while supporting and encouraging each other along the way. Anything less than that creates an imbalance that can lead to frustration and resentment over time. Neglecting your purpose can also lead to a loss of identity. When you pour all your energy into helping someone else achieve their goals while ignoring your own, you begin to lose touch with what makes you unique. You may wake up one day and realize that you no longer recognize the person you've become because you spent so much time living for someone else. This loss of identity can create a void that no relationship can fill, leaving you feeling unfulfilled and disconnected from your true self. Your purpose is what grounds you and gives you a sense of direction. And without it, you may find yourself drifting aimlessly. A man who truly loves and values you will not ask you to neglect your purpose for the sake of the relationship. Instead, he will encourage you to pursue your calling and will find ways to support you in that pursuit. He will understand that your purpose is not a threat to the relationship, but an essential part of who you are. In fact, when both partners are living in alignment with their purpose, the relationship becomes strong because it is built on a foundation of mutual respect and shared growth. Each person brings their full self to the partnership, creating a dynamic where both individuals are able to thrive. Neglecting your purpose can also create a dependency on a relationship that is unhealthy. When you abandon your goals and dreams to focus solely on your partners, you become reliant on them for your sense of worth and fulfillment. This dependency can lead to feelings of insecurity and fear because your happiness becomes tied to the success of the relationship. If the relationship faces challenges or ends, you may feel lost and unsure of who you are without it. Your purpose, on the other hand, is a constant. It provides a sense of stability and meaning that is independent of any external factors. Living in alignment with your purpose requires intentionality and discipline. It means making choices that prioritize your calling even when it's difficult or inconvenient. It means setting boundaries in your relationship to ensure that your time and energy are not consumed by things that detract from your mission. This doesn't mean you can't invest in a relationship or support your partner's dreams, but it does mean that you should never do so at the expense of your own. Your purpose is not something to be put on hold or postponed. It is something to be actively pursued every day. Neglecting your purpose for the sake of a relationship can also create feelings of resentment over time. When you suppress your dreams and ambitions to support someone else's, you may begin to feel undervalued or taken for granted. This resentment can manifest in subtle ways such as withdrawal or passive-aggressive behavior, or it can explode in moments of conflict. Either way, it undermines the health of the relationship and creates a rift between you and your partner. Pursuing your purpose, on the other hand, allows you to bring your whole self to the relationship, creating a dynamic that is honest and fulfilling. Your purpose is also a source of resilience in challenging times when life gets difficult. Having a clear sense of direction and meaning can help you stay grounded and focused. It provides a sense of hope and determination that can carry you through even the toughest seasons. In a relationship, this resilience is invaluable because it allows you to weather challenges together without losing sight of who you are or what you are working toward. A relationship that supports your purpose is one that equips you to face life's challenges with strength and confidence. Finally, living in alignment with your purpose is an act of obedience to the Creator who gave it to you. Your purpose is not just about achieving personal success or fulfillment. It is about serving the greater good and making a positive impact in the world. When you neglect your purpose for the sake of a relationship, you are not just letting yourself down, you are also missing out on the opportunity to fulfill the role you were created to play in the world. Your purpose is a gift, and it is your responsibility to honor it by pursuing it with all your heart. Respect is the foundation of any meaningful relationship, and allowing disrespect is one of the most damaging things a woman can do to herself and her connection with a partner. Respect is not a luxury or an optional aspect of love, it is a requirement. Without it, a relationship cannot thrive, and a woman's sense of self-worth will inevitably erode. Allowing a man to disrespect you is not just about his behavior, it is about how you see yourself and the boundaries you establish. The moment you tolerate disrespect, you give him permission to continue devaluing you, which can set a destructive tone for the entire relationship. Disrespect often begins subtly, disguised as a joke, a dismissive comment, or minor boundary violation. These small acts may seem insignificant at first, but they are indicative of a deeper issue. Over time, they can escalate into patterns of belittlement, control, or even emotional abuse. A man who disrespects you is not someone who sees you as his equal, and a relationship where one partner lacks respect for the other will always be imbalanced. When you allow disrespect to go unchecked, you are not only teaching him that his behavior is acceptable, but also diminishing your own sense of self-worth. Many women allow disrespect because they fear conflict or rejection. They may convince themselves that it is easier to overlook certain behaviors than to confront them. However, avoidance does not resolve the issue, it only reinforces it. Every time you allow a man to speak to you harshly, dismiss your feelings, or undermine your worth, you send a message that his behavior is acceptable. This not only perpetuates the cycle of disrespect, but also makes it increasingly difficult to regain the respect you deserve. Respect must be demanded, not through aggression or anger, but through unwavering boundaries and self-respect. Disrespect can take many forms, some of which are more obvious than others. It might be verbal, such as name-calling, sarcasm, or condescending remarks. It might be emotional, such as dismissing your opinions, ignoring your needs, or manipulating your feelings. It might even be physical, such as invading your personal space or exerting control over your body. Whatever form it takes, disrespect is a violation of your dignity. It should never be tolerated. A man who respects you will never demean, belittle, or harm you in any way, and he will actively seek to honor and uplift you. Allowing disrespect in a relationship can have profound psychological and emotional consequences. Over time, it can lead to feelings of inadequacy, self-doubt, and even depression. When you internalize someone else's disrespect, you begin to question your own worth and value. You may start to believe that you deserve the treatment you are receiving, which can create a dangerous cycle of low self-esteem and further tolerance of disrespect. Breaking free from this cycle requires a strong commitment to self-respect and a willingness to stand up for yourself, even if it means walking away from the relationship. Respect is not something that can be negotiated or compromised. It is a fundamental aspect of love and partnership. A man who truly loves you will never treat you with anything less than the utmost respect. He will value your opinions, honor your boundaries, and appreciate your individuality. He will recognize that respect is not just about how he treats you in private, but also about how he speaks about you to others, how he listens to you, and how he supports you. Respect is not about perfection. It is about consistent effort and a genuine desire to honor the person you are. It's one of the most powerful ways to command respect is by embodying it yourself. When you carry yourself with confidence and dignity, you set a standard for how others should treat you. This means being clear about your boundaries and not wavering in the face of disrespect. It means speaking up when something feels wrong and refusing to tolerate behavior that undermines your worth. Self-respect is the foundation upon which external respect is built, and it is something that must be cultivated and protected at all costs. A man who sees that you respect yourself will be more likely to respect you as well. It is important to understand that demanding respect is not about being confrontational or overly assertive. It is about standing firm in your values and knowing your worth. This requires a deep sense of self-awareness and a commitment to prioritizing your well-being. It also means being willing to walk away from relationships that do not honor your dignity. Leaving a relationship where disrespect is present can be one of the most difficult decisions a woman makes, but it is also one of the most empowering. By choosing to prioritize your self-respect, you send a powerful message to yourself and others that you will not settle for anything less than you deserve. Respect is not just about how a man treats you, it is also about how he makes you feel about yourself. A man who respects you will build you up, not tear you down. He will encourage you to pursue your dreams, support your goals, and celebrate your successes. He will see you as an equal partner, someone whose thoughts, feelings, and contributions are valued, and a relationship built on respect. There is no need to prove you having out of solve. And to prove your worth or fight for recognition because it is inherently understood and acknowledged. Disrespect, on the other hand, creates a toxic environment that stifles growth and happiness. It breeds insecurity, resentment, and pain, making it impossible to build a healthy and fulfilling partnership. A man who disrespects you is not someone who is capable of truly loving you. because love and respect are inseparable. You cannot have one without the other, and any relationship lacking respect will ultimately fail. Recognizing this truth is essential for protecting your heart and ensuring that you only invest your time and energy in relationships that are worthy of you. Respect is not earned through compromise or submission. It is earned through self-respect and a clear understanding of your worth. When you hold yourself to a high standard and refuse to tolerate anything less, you attract relationships that reflect those values. This does not mean that conflicts or disagreements will never arise, but it does mean that they will be handled with care, kindness, and mutual respect. A man who respects you will never use conflict as an excuse to demean or diminish you. Instead, he will seek to resolve issues in a way that honors both of you. Ultimately, the decision to allow or reject disrespect in a relationship lies with you. It is a choice that reflects how you see yourself and what you believe you deserve. By choosing to demand respect, respect is not a privilege or a favor, it is a right. And it is something that every woman deserves. A relationship without respect is not a relationship worth having. And a man who does not respect you is not a man worth keeping. Your self-worth is a priceless treasure that must never be compromised, no matter the circumstances. It is the core of who you are, the intrinsic value that you carry simply by being alive. When you compromise your self-worth for a man, you are not only diminishing your own value, but also undermining the essence of a healthy and balanced relationship. Your self-worth is not something anyone can give. One can give or take away. It is inherent, and it is your responsibility to protect and nurture it. Compromising it for the sake of a relationship is one of the most detrimental choices you can make because it creates a foundation of inequality and breeds emotional pain over time. Compromising your self-worth often begins in subtle ways. It might start with accepting behavior that you know is disrespectful or overlooking actions that contradict your values. It could be excusing patterns of neglect or making sacrifices that leave you feeling diminished. Over time, these small compromises accumulate, and before you realize it, you've lost sight of the person you once were. Compromising your self-worth does not happen all at once. It is a gradual erosion that stems from prioritizing someone else's happiness over your own sense of dignity and value. When you compromise your self-worth for a man, you place his needs, desires, and opinions above your own. This imbalance creates a dynamic where you are constantly giving without receiving, pouring out energy without being replenished. In a healthy relationship, both partners should feel valued and supported. But when one person sacrifices their self-worth, the relationship becomes one-sided, leaving little room for genuine connection or growth. The man may come to take your sacrifices for granted, not because he is necessarily malicious, but because you have set a precedent that your needs and boundaries are secondary. It's a woman who compromises her self-worth often does so out of fear of being alone, fear of rejection, or fear of not being enough. These fears can be powerful, but they are also deceptive. They convince you that settling for less than you deserve is better than risking loneliness. However, no relationship is worth losing yourself. The temporary comfort of companionship cannot replace the deep fulfillment that comes from living authentically and honoring your worth. When you compromise your self-worth, you may avoid immediate pain, but you invite a deeper, more enduring suffering into your life. Your self-worth is directly tied to how you perceive yourself and how you allow others to treat you. When you compromise it, you send a message to yourself and the world that you are willing to settle for less. This message can attract relationships and situations that reinforce the cycle of devaluation. Conversely, when you stand firm in your self-worth, you set a stand that commands respect and admiration. A man who values you will rise to meet your standard, not expect you to lower it for his convenience. By refusing to compromise your self-worth, you create a permanent space for relationships that are built on mutual respect and shared values. Compromising your self-worth can lead to a loss of identity. Over time, you may find yourself conforming to someone else's expectations or ideals, sacrificing the very things that make you unique. You may suppress your own desires, opinions, or dreams to fit into a mold that you think will make the relationship work. But a relationship that requires you to abandon yourself is not a relationship worth having. True love celebrates individuality and encourages each partner to thrive in their authenticity. A man who truly loves you will not ask you to compromise your self-worth. He will cherish and support the person you are. The consequences of compromising your self-worth extend beyond the relationship itself. When you allow your value to be diminished, you begin to internalize a sense of inadequacy. This can affect every area of your life, from your career to your friendships to your mental health. You may find yourself settled in other areas, believing that you are not worthy of success, happiness, or fulfillment. This mindset becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, keeping you trapped in a cycle of mediocrity and dissatisfaction. Protecting your self-worth is not just about preserving your dignity in relationships, it is about ensuring that you live a life that reflects your true value. Standing firm in your self-worth requires courage and self-awareness. It means being willing to walk away from situations and relationships that do not honor you, even when it's difficult, painful. It means setting boundaries and holding others accountable for how they treat you. It also means doing the inner work to recognize and affirm your own value regardless of external circumstances. Your self-worth is not dependent on a man's approval or affection. It is rooted in your identity as a person created with purpose and intention. When you embrace this truth, you become unshakable in the face of challenges. A man who respects your self-worth will never ask you to compromise it. He will see your value and treat you accordingly, honoring your boundaries and celebrating your individuality. He will not see your self-worth as a threat, but as a strength that enhances the relationship. In fact, a man who truly loves you will encourage you to stand firm in your worth, knowing that it is the foundation of a healthy and fulfilling partnership. Compromising your self-worth does not lead to deeper love or connection. It leads to resentment, imbalance, and heartache. Protecting your self-worth, on the other hand, creates a space for love to flourish authentically. It is important to remember that compromising your self-worth does not just affect you, it affects the dynamics of the relationship as well. When you sacrifice your value, you unintentionally teach your partner that it is acceptable to treat you as less than you deserve. This creates a pattern that is difficult to break and can lead to long-term dissatisfaction for both parties. By standing firm in your self-worth, you not only protect yourself, but also set the tone for a relationship that is built on equality and respect. A man who values you will appreciate this and strive to meet the standard you set. Compromising your self-worth can also create a false sense of security in a relationship. You may believe that by giving more, sacrificing more, accommodating more, you are strengthening the connection. But true love does not require you to diminish yourself, it requires you to show up fully and authentically. A relationship that asks you to compromise your self-worth is not offering you love, it is asking you to trade your dignity for a fleeting sense of acceptance. The security you seek can only be found within yourself and the unwavering knowledge that you are worthy of love and respect just as you are. To live in alignment with your self-worth requires constant vigilance and self-reflection. It means recognizing when you are slipping into patterns of compromise and taking steps to correct them. It also means surrounding yourself with people who affirm your value and encourage you to live authentically. A man who loves and respects you will never ask you to compromise your self-worth. He will honor is treated. By standing firm in your worth, you create the foundation for relationships that uplift and empower you, allowing you to live a life that reflects the fullness of your value and purpose. There is a natural tendency for many women to try and fix or change a man, to believe that with enough love, patience, and care, they can transform him into someone who aligns more closely with their expectations or desires. This desire to fix a man is often born out of a genuine place of care, a wish to help him grow, and a belief in the potential of the relationship. However, trying to change or fix a man is one of the most damaging things a woman can do in a relationship. It not only leads to personal frustration, but also undermines the foundation of a healthy partnership. Relationships are not about fixing someone, they are about accepting them as they are while simultaneously fostering growth and mutual respect. The first problem with trying to change a man is that it disregards his autonomy and personal responsibility. Every individual has the right to live life according to their own values, beliefs, and desires. While it is natural to want to improve certain aspects of a relationship or encourage a partner to be their best self, trying to fundamentally alter who someone is goes against the very essence of respect. It is one thing to encourage growth, provide support, and be a positive influence, but it is another thing entirely to try and change the core of a person's character, desires, or life choices. When a woman enters a relationship with the sole goal of changing or fixing a man, she is disregarding his individuality and in the process disrespecting the person he is. Trying to change a man also creates a dynamic where the woman assumes a position of superiority, believing that she knows what is best for him. This dynamic is rooted in control, and control is a toxic force in any relationship. Relationships thrive on equality and mutual respect, not on one partner trying to impose a vision of the relationship, but a relationship on the other. When a woman tries to change a man, she is not treating him as an equal partner, but as a project or a problem that needs to be solved. This mentality not only fosters resentment and frustration, but also stifles the potential for true connection and intimacy. It's a relationship where one partner is trying to fix the other is fundamentally imbalanced, and this imbalance can erode the trust and understanding should cornerstone of steez. That should be the cornerstone of a loving partnership. The desire to fix a man is also often rooted in insecurity. A woman may feel that if she can change him, she can make him better, and therefore more worthy of her. This kind of thinking stems from a belief that the woman herself is not enough, or that she needs to mold her partner into a version of himself that fits her idea of perfection. However, the idea that anyone needs to be fixed in the first place is flawed. People are not broken, and trying to fix someone is based on the assumption that they are inherently flawed or incomplete. This can lead to deep feelings of inadequacy in both partners. And the woman may feel as though she is never enough because she is constantly trying to change her partner. And the man may feel as though he is being judged or that he can not live up to her expectations. Additionally, attempting to change a man often means disregarding the importance of self-awareness and personal growth. Personal development is a deeply individual process. No one can be forced to change, and no one can be expected to change for someone else's benefit alone. True change, the kind that leads to lasting growth, happens when an individual is ready to change for their own reasons, not because someone else has demanded it. When a woman tries to change a man, she is inadvertently disregarding his agency and his ability to grow at his own pace. This can lead to frustration and disappointment, both for the woman who feels as though her efforts are unappreciated, and for the man who feels pressured or manipulated into becoming someone he is not ready to be. Furthermore, attempting to change a man can prevent both partners from learning important lessons about themselves and each other. Relationships are meant to be spaces of mutual growth where both partners learn from each other, support each other's aspirations, and encourage each other's development. But when one partner is focused on changing the other, this mutual growth is stunted. Instead of learning how to work through differences, the focus shifts to altering behaviors or beliefs that may not need change, and beliefs that make way, leading to an unhealthy and stagnant relationship. Trying to change a man also places undue pressure on the relationship itself. It can lead to a cycle of disappointment and frustration, where the woman feels that no matter how much she tries to help him, he is never quite good enough. This constant pressure can wear on both individuals and make the relationship feel like a never-end project rather than a loving partnership. When a focus is on changing a man, she may overlook the beautiful qualities that initially attracted her to him in the first place. She may start to focus on his flaws, imperfections, or behaviors that she wishes were different, rather than celebrating who he is as a person. This shift in perspective can lead to disillusionment and dissatisfaction, creating a rift between the couple that is difficult to bridge. Another aspect of trying to change a man is that it often comes from a place of unexpressed needs or desires. A woman may want her partner to change certain behaviors because she feels that they are not being met emotionally or practically. However, trying to change his behavior is not an effective way of addressing these needs. Instead of focusing on what she wants him to change, the woman should communicate openly and honestly about her needs and desires. A healthy relationship thrives on honest communication. And trying to change someone while having a conversation about the underlying issues only creates tension and confusion. The man may feel as though he is being attacked or criticized, while the woman may feel unheard or unsupported. Effective communication, not attempting to change a person's core traits, is the key to resolving conflicts and strengthening the bond between partners. Ultimately, the key to a healthy relationship lies in mutual acceptance and growth. Both partners should feel free to be themselves, to evolve and change at their own pace, and to encourage each other in their individual journeys. Instead of trying to fix a changed man or woman should focus on creating a partnership where both people feel valued, supported, and accepted for who they are. Change will happen naturally in a relationship built on love, trust, and mutual respect. Trying to force change is a surefire way to erode the very foundation of that partnership, leading to frustration, resentment, and in many cases, the eventual breakdown of the relationship itself. If a woman focuses on accepting her partner as he is, while encouraging each other to grow together, the relationship can thrive in ways that trying to change him never could.